Hi, I'm Gordon Williams with Zion Blacksmith School, and this morning we're going to do the horsehead. Probably make a hook out of it, but you can make, a coat bar, whatever. They're pretty sellable little items, pretty easy to make. So over the tools, of course, we got a hammer, and I'm going to use a cross peen. My hold down, the same thing we use for the wizard and other things. It's an eye socket punch. Okay. And then the next will be an eyeball punch. We showed you how to make those on another video. A hot cut chisel, it's curved, and a center punch. And that's where we're going to go with that. I'm going to quickly show you, excuse me, I'm going to let you look at this. And what we're going to do first is we're going to make a 3/4 inch taper. Okay, a taper doesn't start here, it starts here. So keep a lot of angle on your hammer, and once you get this nose area down to 3/8 this way, then you'll know 3/8 and 3/4 this way, you're done. We're going to let this get what's called proud, and I'll show you on the end. So while we're hitting it this way, it gets fat sideways, okay? We're not gonna correct that. We're gonna use that. So let it go ahead and get proud on the nose area. All right, let's get started. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Another thing I forgot to mention is I am going to use a ball peen to spread this area out here. So what we're going for is a 3/4 inch taper that's 3/8 the length and the width of this. And we're going to let this get fat on the end because we're going to isolate that muzzle area doing a half face blow so its muzzle kind of sticks out. It gives it another dimension. And then we're also, once I get this shape, I'm going to isolate a chin and a neck. Notice on the neck area when we get to that we got to leave as much material right here in the neck to make the mane. So don't thin this way out. It only gets thinned right at the head. And we'll kind of go over that. So normally I get to this spot in one heat. But I'll probably break this down. Maybe I'll do this taper and round up his nose and maybe isolate that spot on this heat or whatever. We'll find out. All right, so let me get started. I'm going to use a box jaw tong. You can use whatever holds it well. You always want your tongs to hold the steel well. Movement's not your friend. It creates a bend and a rattle. Anytime you hear a rattle when you're hitting something, your tong hands are too high or your tongs aren't holding it right. So what I'm going to come to is I'm going to lay this close to the edge of my anvil, and I'm going to square off. I'm going to make a right angle here for me, and I'm going to do on the anvil blow as a taper, and I'm wanting to get the nose area down this way to 3/8, and then I just grow the taper back to 3/4 rough dimension. Now, if you start way back here, here's his nose, you're going to have a big long-nosed horse. So I want to push it like that. Only making contact on the corner of that, it goes real quickly. I get this part down to 3/8, and then I grow the taper back to 3/4. I'm holding it flat on the anvil. Okay? So I'm flat on the anvil, coming in at an angle. And I'm going for 3/8. I check it. I'm about there. I'm going to blow back into my hand. Look how my tongs are locked into my hip. That helps me to round up his nose. Okay? Got his nose round. I'm going to thin it down just a little more. Okay? There we go. I'm going to do what's called a half face blow. I've got a half on, half off. And I'm just going to isolate that muzzle. Okay? And what it does, let's see if you can really see that. I let it get fat, and then I did a half face blow. That means your hammer's half on, half off, but you're hitting on the anvil. Don't think about doing that brush your hair stroke out here. It's just straight down onto the anvil. Okay? So I have approximately a 3/4 inch taper. I let his nose get proud. And now I'm going to isolate the chin by hanging it off the anvil about 1/4 of an inch. and doing a half-face blow, I'm going to shove back to here, just behind that taper. So about right, if I drew a line just behind the taper on the bottom, and I'm going to isolate his neck. When I isolate his neck, I'm going to elevate the steel back here a half of an inch, and I'm going to do a half-face blow, but driving onto the anvil to isolate that. Okay, let's get her hot and try her. Okay, we're on this step number 3. Remember, I left that nose proud and isolated it. I'm going to go ahead and establish the chin by hanging about a 1/4 inch or so off the anvil and doing what's called a half-face blow. Hammer's half on, half off. Don't hook his nose down. I find that a lot of times if you stand here and you're just beginning, as you come down, you can't see the nose because your hammer's hiding it. Your hammer's hiding it. When I square off to my anvil at a right angle, I can see what I'm doing. So what happens here, you want to be careful of if you're going to stand here and do it, is you'll hook his nose down. You'll have a hook down in his nose. It doesn't look very good. You want to keep that muzzle kind of straight. So when I'm hitting here, I'm hitting on the anvil with a half-face blow. I'm not hitting anything out in space. Anything over the edge. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to isolate the chin and the neck and maybe kind of dress the edges up a little bit. You can file them, I just hammer dress them. Not a big deal, okay? So I'm going to hang a little off the anvil, okay? Doing a half-face blow, that's it. I'm going to round just these corners off, just kind of giving them more of a muzzle shape. Coming back to behind my taper, and I've got a lot of angle on my hammer. I'll show you in a minute. Okay? I'm going to take my ball peen now, and I'm going to work the jaw line out. I'll show you. This is the back side. A little bit where the eyeball is going to be. Okay. I'm cleaning up my edges. Okay. I'm going to come in here, just kind of round that up. Giving it a little bit more dress. Making it look okay. Now you can file this. I'm not going to do a lot to it just to show you, but I've got a head shape. I get a half-face blow like that. Okay. I get another blow. This one's an on the anvil blow. So here's not a half face. Chin's a half face blow. The jowl or the neck area is an on the anvil blow. Okay? And then I took the ball peen. This is the back of it. It's going to go on the wall. And I dressed some out here, and about 2 hits right at his eyeball area, just to give it some shape. And now, if you want, you can clean up all this with a hammer or rasp. I'm not going to, just to show you. Okay, so now we're going to do some bends. We'll go over that part. Okay, so what we're going to do on this one that's in the fire is we're going to do my bending and make it kind of look like a seahorse. Again, you can make this horse on a straight bar. It doesn't have to. There's a hinge. You're on a hinge. Look at Mindy Gardner's. She did a fabulous horse head hinge. I would love to see how she did it. It's fabulous. Anyway, I'm going to do this bend by turning his jaw. That's his jaw, the bottom of his head up like this. And I'm going to bend it down to on the anvil right here to a 45. I'm going to walk over to the horn and roll his head back. So the start is upside down. Horse is upside down. And I'm going to use this main area. Right here is about where I'm going to put it on the anvil. Okay? So right about here, probably hot, huh? Is I'm going to put it on the anvil and bend it down to about a 45. And then I'll come to the horn. When I turn him over the horn, I'm going to be hitting in the bridge of his nose. And I don't want to let that jaw line hit the horn. Otherwise, I'll put a dent in it. So I'm kind of bending out in space. All right, let's do that. Get her hot. Okay, so I'm going to hang it upside down, off the anvil, bending it to, I don't know, approximately 45. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to hang them out here in space. And I'm going to start my bend. It kind of gets a little bend in them. And then I'm going to hang them on the anvil and tap them on the bridge of his nose. Get him kind of seahorse here. Keeping him kind of flat. Okay. Kind of got him seahorse looking there. So I bent him over in the back. Now we'll go ahead and we'll make his face. His face goes on the side that his nose is still proud on. So again, I'll do this one. Same thing. Okay, hanging it on a rounder edge of your anvil, tipping it, keeping this down. Okay, like that. Hanging it out in space. Don't do this if you don't have any heat. I'm hitting the bridge of his nose. Okay? And I'm just getting them thick. As he bends, I keep him flat. I'm going to go ahead and bend this one. I might leave this one facing up. You know, just a little different. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put his face features on now. All right, we're going to go ahead with facial features. Mane's last. The mane kind of makes it. This is no Pancho Willoughby's head or Mindy Gardner's head. You know, they do some, theirs is above the top. This is a quickie, down and dirty hook head. So what I'm going to do first is use the eye socket tool, which is that lazy triangle we did on the cowboy, wizard, blah, blah, blah. And it goes right here. Okay, about 3/4 up his head. At that point, I grab my eyeball tool. Showed you how to make those on a video. He goes right in here. Boom. I quickly get my ear. Now, what I'm going to show you, if you lay that ear back, that cut to make an ear starts at about a 1/2 inch, way back here, and it's angled flat like that. This is where they almost always get really ugly, in my opinion. Instead of being long, see, if I want this little spot right here to come up and make an ear, I'm going to be like that. See that point right there? That can come out. It'll come out. If I do this, guess what happens? It makes a chisel mark. That's it. Because the steel traps both sides. So think about what has to get released. So look at how long that cut is. It's long. It's a 1/2 inch on my steel. And look at that little point right over here where that chisel terminates. That's your target. If you see that, that ain't going to do nothing. You're not going to have an ear that comes out. You're going to be like that, okay? As it cuts in, you can lift it out, okay? So it's going to be eye socket, eyeball, ear, mouth, nose can be cold, and pupil can be cold. Then what we'll do is mane. All right, so let me get this down. So I put my tools, how I'm going to use them, okay? So kind of like Vanna White, I've got to have them right here. They just kind of hand it to me. I kind of wanted a Vanna White to do that, but I haven't found anybody. So here I go. I'll do this one. Remember when you're striking a tool, like any of these tools, it's never this little like that quick double tap. It bounces. And so also, what I'm watching is where the tool is. I can see the top. So I'm not doing this, that. And then you hit it, oh, I was off. I'm watching the bottom all the time. But I can see both of them. So open your eyes up wide. Quit staring at her pretty face. Watch your feet, where she's going to dance to another partner. Here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and snap it. Tap it down. Eye socket goes right about there. Okay. Eyeball. Ear is a long cut. I wish I could show it to you. And we'll open that up later on the aluminum. Mouth is on the bottom third of his head. Now, his nose because I'm getting blind, I'm going to do a, I'm going to trap it a little closer. It's easy to get cold. Give myself a little flat target there. And I'm going to give it a tap because I'm getting where I can't see good. And I'll be off on his nose. Now I made it bigger. I'm going to put a pupil in, which is just a little center punch. Okay, now, when I cut his mane, I'll make his ear come up on the aluminum. But right now, let me get my brushy thing. Okay, so right now it looks like he's at feeding time. But see how that little point? I had a long cut. And now when I go in with that chisel, I'll bring his ear up. If you use a half round there, you actually pull a better ear, but I didn't have it handy. So he's starting there. Now, I'm going to the mane next. So everything above my hammer is a mane. Okay? What I'm going to do is hold my hammer, probably start with my thumb on it, even though, and it's just a guide. I'm going to choke up because I want a lot of control with the head. So I'm not back here willy-nilly and can't control my head. I'm going to choke up and I'm going to work in the center of his neck a few times hard. And as I get a divot or a low spot, I'm going to pull the wave of steel, pow, 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 out this way. Straight flat blows like this. Boom, 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 boom. That pulls material out. After that, I'm going to go from a flat face blow like this. See my hammer's flat? To an angle blow. See that? I'm only making contact down there. And I'm going to do these long angles just like an ear, just like a mane. Don't come in, and everybody, you got to think about what's happening. Never come in like this. That just puts ugly marks in it because steel's trapping it. Come in long like that. Long. Think about pulling out those little feathers. Anytime you come into the steel straight, it just puts ugly marks in it. So these are long, not quite in line with it, but almost. And I'm going to hit it hard at an angle to give it some blow. Okay, let me go ahead and I'll do this one when it heats up. Okay, we're going to get ready. This is that sticked up head one. The other one's in there ready to go. We're going to start in with a cross beam right in here. Kind of right in line with the steel. And I'm going to hit it hard. Not just these little taps. If you hit something and it don't do nothing, hit it harder. So I'm going to hit it hard while it's thick. And I'm going to, once I make a divot in the center, I'm going to pull my hammer this way, pull out that mane wide, and then I go from a flat face blow to an angle blow and drive in some nice deep kind of mane looking marks, and then we'll cut it loose. Okay, let's do that. So I choke up on my hammer on this one to give me more control, okay? I'm going to drive a divot in here. Good, there we go. Now, I'm going from that to my angle. Giving it some mane, okay? I'm going to soften his neck with my hammer just to take the sharp edge off. I like to. I don't like sharp edges. Okay? That's not bad. Okay, so now there's a mane. So I pulled it out, away from the steel, and then I angled it this way, hit it to give it some wave. Now I'm going to take the chisel, and again, I don't know how many times I can do this, but this always gets ruined, just so you know. They got to come in straight with their chisel, or almost straight. You're not going to get the mane to blow in the wind. You need to come in long. Now what I want you to look for is the point where my chisel comes off. See that point? That'll come out. That will not come out. It'll make some mark. And I think it's pretty ugly. Remember, I'm going to turn his ear up on the aluminum. So I'll probably put 3 or 4 little cuts in that. Okay? I'll do the other one again. I've got the other one in here. Just pull him out. So I create a divot in the center. I got a low spot. Now I'm going to hit it and drag it to me. Okay, and now I'm getting some mane look. getting it hard at an angle. Okay. I'm going to soften his neck. Just got a sharp edge on his neck. Okay. Okay. We're going to make a hook out of him. Okay. Oh, wire brushing. I'll talk about wire brushing for me in a little. So that's where I'm at now. I'm going to cut that main loose using the aluminum or a mild steel block. Okay, we're going to cut his main loose with a hot cut chisel and the aluminum. Remember, think of the forge, work at the anvil, have your tools ready. Think about what you're going to do when you come out, and then don't do this Tai Chi thing and your tools where you don't need them, and you get this on there. Oh, there's my chisel, and now he's cold. You want to be able to, when you come out, my hold down, I'm not ready to come out till I have this up in the air and that. So I come out, trap, throw, chisel, go. Okay, it'll save you a lot of time. I'd also never have one in the fire. Normally these things would be 4. You can get at least 2 done just as fast as you can get 1 done. And you're also creating muscle memory. You're fixing things that you didn't like on the first one, hopefully. And anyway, here we go. Now remember, I'm going to have a long angle in my chisel. I can't tell you, 98% of everybody comes in too straight with their chisel. It's a long cut. Long. Almost vertically in line with it. Almost. Okay? So I'm going to snap down, get my butt behind me. Okay, and I'm going to blow some wind up. And I'm looking at those little points that I want to get out. Get his ear up a little bit. And then I can decorate his ear. In other words, I'll show you maybe on one of them, maybe I won't. I can put a little punch in and give it a little more body. More. Doesn't really sell for more. Okay. Oopsie. Okay, so I'll make a hook out of these, probably. It's quick. Great little fast demo items. You can get really fast with those. So he's looking like that. Remember, that cut's long. You're looking for that point when you lay your chisel in. If you see a flat, same thing with the ear, you're going to have just a chisel mark. I don't like it. You might, but I don't. I think it looks stupid. But anyway, I'll do the other one. And got my chisel. And now notice where my butt goes, because this would be like a monkey humping a football. It's fun to watch, but don't do much. So I always want to hammer the way my body's put together. Okay? So I move my butt accordingly. Okay? I just let his head come up, because when I make a hook, that gives it a little dimension off the wall for me, but again, I only like it because it sells. So now it's like that. All right, hope you enjoyed it. I'd probably make a hook and show that. It's not a big deal, but again, it could be on a bar or something else. All right, God bless, have a good day.